They tried to stop me, they tried to drop me. They put 8 million pixels on a screen to co-opt me, and yet they still can't stop me. You see, I freed myself so I can be myself, because being someone else is bad for my health.
Yo, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Welcome. I am your coach, Uncle Renz, and today we're talking about CNN's show by Riza Aslan for Santa Muerte. I took French, not Spanish, so I'm going to mess that name up a lot. No disrespect for anybody who practice this worship, this rituals of Santa Muerte. I just keep messing it up. Been trying. Reshot this video 4 times because I keep messing up the name, and because I kind of like got scatterbrained on this one. Because there's just so much. There's so much that I want to talk about concerning it. So let me try to keep this in a way that we can actually, learn and develop from. So first, let's just look at the show, and then I'm going to go more into a hermetic, alchemical understanding of it all, and then I might lace some of that in throughout. Now, in the show, what you have is a situation where for over 100 years you had the worship of Santa Muerte, who is the goddess, the saint over death, giving you protection, saint of protection, death. Depending upon what dress, what she's wearing, that determines it. Also called the skinny lady. She has different names. And of course, they tried to make it seem like it was the religion of the drug dealers and the cartels and the criminals. But no, I ain't gonna go there yet. They made it seem like, yes, I am. Did not Christianity start out as the religion for the undesirables? It did. It started out as the religion for the undesirables. Yeshua hung out with the undesirables, and then they were his people. He grew, and it grew out of them. And then later on, you had the aristocratic people, your Pauls, and people like your Philos of Alexandria, your Bishop Irenaeus, which is interesting since people always want to think that Christians were just being slaughtered wholesale in Rome. But Irenaeus lived in 860, and he was a bishop. In 180, and he was a bishop. All right, of Christianity before the Council of Nicaea in 325. Just want to put that out there. So, it's this idea that is only for those people, but it's for those. But it's become popularized first by those who were marginalized by the Catholic Church. You see, the Catholic Church originally was cool with it up until 1990s, when the bishop at the time was like, "Oh no, that's the gateway to Satanism," right? So at that point, the Catholic Church went to war against Santa Muerte, which only emboldened the people to spread Santa Muerte and to worship it more outwardly, and it's done nothing but gain ground. Over 2 million people have become part of this new religion, worshiping this sacred feminine. And this sacred feminine is not about going to hell. It's not about hurting people. It's about love and compassion. It's about, protection and things like that, looking over your loved ones, those who are incarcerated. It's about watching over them, trying to keep them safe while they're in prison, because at first they used to put Lady Guadalupe on their back, which represents the Virgin Mary, but they were getting shanked. First you wouldn't get shanked, now you're getting shanked, because it held no more power. Now Santa Muerte is holding power. Now think about that imagery and people's belief in something. First, we can't shank you because you got the Virgin Mary on your back, because then I'll be shanking the Virgin Mary. But then people's like, a few people get shanked, other people get shanked. It's not a big deal. Nobody, no hell fire coming down to burn anybody for shanking you because you got the Virgin Mary on your back. Now I know some people are going, that's because they didn't have the faith. No, but then Santa Muerte, they come out, it's a new one. Oh, she got a skull and all of that. You can't shank her. But it's become more of a place of peace for those criminals. Now, of course, there's still going to be that bad element, just like there's a bad element in Christianity, Islam, Judaism. Even Buddhists got bad elements of Buddhist monks who come down from the mountain and be chopping off people's heads and stuff. So you got bad elements in every religion, just like you got bad elements in your family. Okay, so get off the idea that, they're just horrible and they're just bad. There's bad elements everywhere, especially a black man in America, Christianity getting hung and slung by people who were Christians. So, whatever. And you Africans getting killed by Muslims, and it doesn't, whatever. There's bad elements in every version, every group. So, they're not living the tenets of it. There's always people going to claim something and not live the tenets of it, but I digress. So, back to Santa Muerte. it's interesting how when the church went after them wholesale in the 1990s, it pushed more people towards them, because the church classically did what religions have done all the time. When you elevate your religion to a point where you push aside the marginalized people, the prostitutes, the criminals, the poor, the ones who don't necessarily stack up to your now clean and pristine image of what your religion is, they will go off and follow something different. Look at Christianity up north during the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. The Nation of Islam grew strong in Black America up in those areas because they felt marginalized by Christianity. Christianity was not providing for them what they needed. You see, when you pray and the other guy who's beating the heck out of you pray, and y'all praying to the same God, but the guy who's beating the heck out of you still beats you to death, and then that guy gets off, people feel marginalized. I'm not trying to make this into a race thing, but you can look at the same thing everywhere. You look at certain sects of Islam, the people who are the most susceptible to jihadism, not true Islamic people, but the ones who are susceptible to the jihadist mentality are the ones who've been marginalized. You see, if I promise your family $75,000 and then when you kill these people, you're going to go to heaven and have your 72 virgins, you see, that makes you feel like you've done something, like you're securing your immortal soul and you're taking care of your earthly family. So, but you don't ever see them going to get a rich person to do that. Where's the rich jihadis? And don't point at Bin Laden, because he ain't never strapped on a vest ever to go run and kill somebody. No, he's standing in the background giving orders of what to do. Just like rich people run the government and they give orders for the marginalized to go fight their wars. See, so it's the same thing, just done in from a religious point. The popes did the same thing by having their crusades and also having their inquisitions and whatnot. And you know, other religions have done exactly the same thing. The ruling class of the religion marginalize people. Those people finally get fed up and then they go somewhere else. And then the same process starts over. Because even in Santa Muerte right now, you see that there is a upper class. The hipsters are starting to ingratiate themselves in Santa Muerte, and which will mean that after a time, it will start to have its pillar-like formation as well. It will start to clean itself up and possibly marginalize other people. The people that are coming into it now may be the very same ones that are marginalized in the next 50 years or so. So for the people of Santa Muerte who are watching this, be mindful of that. That is the birth and death of religions and how they go. Now, one of the other things that I found intriguing about Santa Muerte is the fact that it represents the sacred feminine. You know, I am an hermetic alchemist, so I review and watch and look at all the religions. You saw what I talked about, the story of the 6 blind men touching an elephant. You know, I look back and see the entire elephant, or hear the different components from the other men that maybe I didn't touch the ear, but I hear them describe the ear, but know that it's part of the elephant. So when I hear Santa Muerte, and I didn't know much about it before the show came out, but when I hear it, I'm hearing another version of they're worshiping, but for me, understanding the sacred feminine, the necessity for the sacred feminine. And I look at it and see the same elements of early Christianity prior to the Council of Nicaea, where you had arguments later between Peter and Thomas as to what is Mary Magdalene's role, and Thomas saying that since she was the favorite of Yeshua, that she has a prominent role. Philip backed them up on this in his Gospel of Philip, but Peter was like, nah, we ain't having it. Women should not be allowed. That's why the Gospel of Thomas have the disciples often saying, why is this woman here, Yeshua? Get rid of this woman with Yeshua. And Yeshua's like, nah, I'm good. I gotta raise her spirit just like I gotta raise y'all's spirit. And when her spirit is raised just like yours, then we be good. And when he said to make the female into the male, meaning that it's the female spirit that dropped energy, which is the raising of the Kundalini, not the female period as an example, but just the energy. And that feminine energy is in everybody, male, female. Just to clarify that. But raising the female energy, and Santa Muerte raises the female energy again. It's interesting because it's mostly led by women right now. Same way most of the things went. Because if you look at true scholarly work, it was Mary Magdalene, who did a lot of the work with Thomas as far as the early spreading of the way, what they call Christianity, the way, before the Romans got their hands on, before Paul. And see, Peter even had arguments with Paul, according to biblical scholars, because Paul was doing things that Peter was like, whoa, you just going completely to the left on this thing. This ain't what we was talking about. You weren't even there. I was there. You weren't even there. You just writing stuff and doing stuff and saying stuff, and you wasn't even there. So, Santa Muerte reminds me of that, because you have the women who are leading it. It's about the sacred feminine. It's about raising the energy and the spirit of the sacred feminine in people and having that protection. And mainly, and even though that's not far of a reach, but a little bit of a reach, if I really want to marry it up to something, I would marry it up to the Book of the Dead with the Egyptians. Because it's all about securing your immortal soul after death. Giving you protection now, taking care of you now, but where and how is my immortal soul protected in death? See, that's why it's not satanic, because it's not about going to hell or injuring other people. It's about securing my immortal soul, somebody to watch over me in death. Now, for the Christian, that should only be Yeshua. But because the Catholic Church invokes 51 different saints, which of course many Protestants right now are saying that, do not create any graven images of anything on heaven and earth. But yeah, you still got your little doves supposed to represent the Holy Spirit, but we're not going to go there. But don't create any graven images. Catholics kind of took that one out of their Bible. So the Catholic Bible doesn't have that one. So if you're talking to a Catholic, it's going to be hard to push that one, because it's not in their Bible. It's a difference. It's a change. That's why I tell you guys all the time that people change the Bible all the time. And Daniel even told you that was going to happen when he said that the small horn that came out of the beast and ripped out 3 other horns, had eyes and a mouth that boast, that it would change the word of God. Daniel told y'all that. Doesn't really matter to you, don't do it. You hear that, you know that, but you're just going to ignore it and keep on going on with what you see, with what you're doing now, because you was raised in it. Can't help you, man. Can't help you. But here's the thing. You got to open your eyes so you can see. Santa Muerte is like the Book of the Dead, which is supposed to give you a guide of how to cross over. But it's about giving you that protection. See, the Book of the Dead gives you all the tools, gives you all the things you're supposed to do, supposed to know, what you're supposed to say when your heart's being measured, and then they put the feather on the other end of the heart, but Horus is going to come and advocate for you. Then, and that's going to get you across into, paradise. Because Osiris is going to take it in. He's the Lord of paradise. It's similar. But even in the Osiris religion, you always had, it's Osiris and Isis. The Romans even recognized this, because Paradisus is near the temple of Isis. So the worshiping, the understanding, and the praising of the sacred mother, the sacred feminine, has always been there. Even though we like to think, Americans as much, Westerners like to think of Islam as this male-dominated, right brain, kind of religion. But if you read the writings of Muhammad praised the sacred feminine all the time. If you read what Muhammad said about Fatima, and what he said and did concerning the Virgin Mary, his respect and honor of Mary, Muhammad was said to have said that paradise is at the foot of your mother, or the foot of the mother, and that the aspect of Mary intervenes for humanity between Allah and humanity. That Fatima is equal to Sophia, and in the Hebrew and Christian, Sophia is wisdom represented in the feminine. So the feminine has always been there. You got the same thing when you look at Ishtar and Elnana in more Eastern religions. So there's always the sacred feminine. Even with the Greeks with Aphrodite and Greeks and Rome with Aphrodite and Gia and Hera and all these other, Demeter and Persephone, the sacred feminine is always involved in everything. So this is just the continuation of it. And because these people are looking for protection, they're looking for love, they're looking for care and consideration, it's no wonder that the sacred feminine, they're not going to choose that dude. I mean, for the Catholic, it's St. Jude who's supposed to be protection. It's the same thing, same person, but even though the Catholic priest in the show was like, oh no, because the bishop said, or the cardinal said, but you're going by what some dude said. not by what you look at, what you see, what you study, what you feel. You know, that gut feeling part of your brain doesn't have language for you to be able, you just know certain things. When you just know something, that is your gut. That is the inner part of your body, your being, your why being. That is a lot letting you know that. And these people are feeling that. They're finding, they can't express it, they can't explain it, they know it, they just know it. And it gives them that sense of security and faith and passion. And I can't discount them for that. I can't even discount the Catholic Church for trying to save what they have, because, I mean, 2 million, Santa Muerte has grown to 2 million people. So of course people try to protect what they have and what's going on, their status quo. Just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees try to protect the status quo. So you're going to have that going on. Just like in today's world, certain people in Islam, they claim their jihadist mentality as a protection of the status quo, because they see a lot of Islamic people going into a Western mindset. So they're trying to protect the status quo. I'm not saying that they're right for how they do it and what they do. You know, it's kind of like how we do in America with the criminology of drugs. We're punishing the user more so than the supplier. If you got a problem with the way Islamic people are converting or coming into a Western mindset in their dress and their attitude and things like that, have a problem with them, not the Westerners. We ain't got nothing to do with it. We just living our lives, you know. So, but anyway, not gonna beat that horse. But the Santa Muerte was interesting because the sacred feminine, and let's look more alchemical. The sacred feminine is everywhere. In the other video I produced the other day, I talked about the fact that you have to raise your feminine energy. You know, the Gospel of Thomas, one of my favorite books of wisdom, talks about how the disciples were pissed. They was like, you know, Mary shouldn't be with us. She shouldn't even be allowed to live, shouldn't be allowed to have the kingdom of God, right? And that's because they were looking at things from the physical, just a physical male, female. But Yeshua was trying to teach them of the alchemical message of the feminine and male energy. That the fall of the woman, that the fall of Eve is the fall of the feminine energy. That feminine energy is an allegory that there is energy within all of us, male and female. And when Eve fell, it was the feminine energy that fell in all man. And that in order for us to rise, because he said, I will make her like you males, meaning that I will make the feminine energy like the male energy, meaning that it will rise. We will have the alchemical marriage. We will raise the kundalini. So the male and female, the caduceus, will raise, and then we can have Christ consciousness, Buddha head, whatever you want to call it, samadhi, whatever you want to call it. And that way, we become a conscious being. So it's not, but the disciples at the time could only see it in the physical form. Their eye wasn't open. You have to open your eye if you truly want to see. And if you really want to see what the Santa Muerte is talking about, what the idea of Osiris and Isis really is about, if you want to see what Yeshua was talking about in the Gospel of Thomas or in the Gospel of Philip, if you want to understand the Samaritan story of people like Enki and then Harsag and all those, then you really have to understand that this is a raising of the sacred male and female. The whole deal with Krishna and Brahma and all their whole host, and for some reason the female name, I think it's Ishtar, but I might be wrong. Just all of that together represents the male and female energy rising. And I think that, and this is just I think that, Santa Muerte, it is now grown. It is in LA and in New York and Texas. I think it's going to be a place that a lot of people find refuge. And for those who practice magic, they're really going to find refuge with Santa Muerte, because you can work. If you practice magic, but like I told you in another video, don't practice magic unless you're ready. If you practice magic, then and understand, dark energy is not meaning evil energy, because dark energy is 98% of the universe. But energy is just energy. It's just how we use it and how to use certain type of energies. It's different between, you know, gas and wind and electricity and oil. You know, it's just energy, just forms of energy. But the dark energy aspect of Santa Muerte actually can be very powerful for someone who has a deep connection to it. So the dark energy workers are really going to find a home. And as we move more into this age of Aquarius, because I told you we're in that 150-year transitionary time frame, we're like 50 years into the time transition, I believe. Or no, we're not 50 years, but we're into that transition time frame, into the age of Aquarius. You're going to see more of it. You're going to see a lot more of people being able to access different energy portions of themselves, because they will start to recognize that there's more to it than the status quo. But I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. The CNN show, The Believers, Santa Muerte, it was good. It was good. I mean, you know, they have to do their production value so that it can be entertaining. So, you know, about halfway through, I was kind of done with it, because now it's just, you know, more about the entertainment of it, not about the informational aspect. But I watched the whole thing a couple of times anyway. So y'all have a great day. Enjoy it. I enjoyed this. Please subscribe at the bottom. And, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, well, you're only going to be watching this on YouTube. So subscribe at the bottom. And, you know, love the comments. If you're going to get into name calling, once again, as I say, I'm not going to respond to that. If you're so narrow-minded that all you see is what you see, if you're just touching the leg of the elephant and the whole world is a tree stump, then that's you. But don't just be disrespectful to other people. If we can't have adult conversations, don't claim to have a religion. Don't claim to have a religion of love and peace. And yet, the only way you can talk to somebody is by disparaging them and cursing them, by calling them names, by calling them slaves, or calling them dogs, or, you know, using profanity. If you are claiming to have a religion of love, then show love. Okay? Then show it. So y'all have a great day. This has been your coach, Uncle Renz. Look forward to the next show. I got to catch up on the CNN Believer show. I think it's the Jewish Orthodoxy. That is the next one. I haven't had time to watch it. So y'all have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Your greatness is non-negotiable.